Did you know in the United States, in 2002, a fully built playground appeared overnight in a remote Pennsylvania field? No construction crews, no announcement, no witnesses. Just a pristine set of swings, a wooden slide, a merry-go-round, and monkey bars gleaming with fresh paint in the middle of an empty pasture on the edge of Cold Hollow Township. No one could explain where it came from. And that was just the beginning of what would become the most unsettling summer in town history. It was June 5th, 2002. Farmer Howard Kessler noticed it first as he drove his tractor toward his lower field. The field hadn't been touched in years too. Swampy in spring, too dry by summer. That morning, there was something shiny at the edge of the tall grass. At first, he thought it was trash dumped by teenagers. But as he got closer, he saw an entire playground had appeared where, just the day before, there had only been dirt and weeds. The metal equipment looked brand new. Slides that gleamed, chains that didn't creak, no graffiti, no weird dot, no tracks leading in, no disturbed earth, no tire marks. Just there. Kessler assumed someone must have used the land without permission. He called the township office. They knew nothing. By the end of the day, word had spread. Curious neighbors, children, and their parents began to visit. The kids loved it. They played for hours, said it felt weird but fun. A few commented that it smelled like metal and dirt. One child mentioned a girl with muddy feet who played tag with them, but no one paid attention. At least, not yet. Within 2 weeks, something had changed. Kids began coming home from the playground acting off. They spoke less. Some were silent entirely. Others started mumbling to themselves, sometimes in gibberish, sometimes in phrases their parents didn't recognize, phrases that later were identified as fragments of a long-forgotten Appalachian dialect. Several children developed night terrors, screaming about the girl in the dirt or the thing under the slide. One mother, Dana Hendricks, said her daughter Maddie came home with bruises on her legs and scratches on her arms. When asked what happened, Maddie whispered, "She doesn't like when we go too high on the swings." Dana assumed it was bullying, but there was no one to blame. Other children complained of toothaches, ear pain, or hearing faint singing late. At night tunes they couldn't hum in the morning, only say were sad and cold. The story of the girl in the dirt started as a rumor. A few kids said they played with a barefoot girl who never said her name. She didn't speak much, but she loved hiding under the slide. Her skin was pale, almost gray, and her dress looked soaked and muddy. Parents thought it was a child's fantasy until a few adults began noticing footprints in the sand near the slide. Small ones. Deep, even when the sand was dry. Then came the incident with Officer Brandon Meyer on July 3rd. Responding to a vandalism report, Officer Meyer stopped by the playground alone. He radioed dispatch that all appeared normal. Then the radio went silent. When backup arrived 30 minutes later, they found his cruiser parked at the edge of the field, door open. Engine still running. No, Officer Meyer. His boots were found near the edge of the sand pit, perfectly aligned. No other tracks, just empty air where he should have gone. He was never found. That's when people started avoiding the playground, but it was too late. That week, residents reported strange interference on their televisions and radios. A deep static would cut in. At night, always around 3:14 a.m. It lasted exactly 60 seconds. Those who recorded it and analyzed the waveform said it sounded like a child humming through a watery filter. Others claimed it was whispering, repeating phrases like "come," "play," or "she's still cold." Local amateur radio enthusiast Mark Decker took a tape of the noise to a state technician he knew. The man analyzed the audio and was reportedly disturbed by what he found. He told Mark, "There's a second frequency layered underneath, something old, like phonograph scratches and distorted prayer chants. This isn't normal interference." 2. Days later, Mark's radio tower caught fire. His home was untouched. The fire inspector could find no ignition source. He moved out the following week. On July 14th, a small group of teenage boys broke into the cordoned-off playground at night. They brought shovels, cameras. They wanted to see what was under the slide, the same place the ghostly girl had been seen at 2:41 a.m. One of the boys called 911, screaming incoherently. Police arrived 20 minutes later. 3 boys were found standing in the field. Shoes off, eyes wide open. Mute. One was holding a small, antique porcelain shoe. A 4th boy, Tyler Chambers, was never found. The footage recovered from their camera was later deemed too disturbing to release publicly, but one leaked frame showed what looked like a hand-thin, discolored, with long black fingernails reaching from the ground beneath the slide. The police finally sealed off the field completely. No one was allowed near it. On August 2nd, 2002, just before dawn, the playground was gone. No equipment, no slide, no swings, just bare, cracked soil and dry weeds. No drag marks, no holes, no footprints. The field looked like it hadn't been touched in years. People were confused. Some relieved, but others, especially those who lost loved ones, felt something far worse. Like the nightmare had only sunk deeper. The town never spoke of it again. Cold Hollow Township moved on. A small town stew burying its secrets beneath routine and silence. But the land remained unused. And every summer, around July, locals report hearing faint laughter on the wind if they pass too close to the edge of the field. Paranormal investigators, years later, pieced together older documents. It turns out that land once housed a church-run orphanage. Built in 1891. It burned down in 1913, killing 12 children in the basement locked during a game of hide-and-seek. Their names were never released to the public, but one stood out: Lillian Wren, age 7, known for hiding under staircases. Always barefoot, her body was never recovered. Records show she wore a muddy white dress the day she died, and one photograph, charred and cracked, shows a group of children on a rickety slide in 1912. In the corner stands Lillian. Behind her, barely visible, is a crude wooden structure that looks almost exactly like the playground that appeared in 2002. Now, in the present day, locals say a new swing set was seen last year, just for a few hours before vanishing again. Only one photo exists, taken by a teenage hiker. It shows a shadow under the slide, small, crouching. Authorities dismissed it as a hoax, but in Cold Hollow Township, every summer, parents warn their children, if you hear laughter in the field, don't answer, don't go near, don't play with the girl in the dirt, because some playgrounds are built by man and others by the forgotten.